Hi there. In this video on cultural intelligence, I'm going to chat with you about cultural intelligence drive. Remember that cultural intelligence is a measurable and malleable competency, capacity. It's a trait you can count and see how culturally intelligent you are. It's also something about yourself that you can change. You can take concrete actions that can increase your capacity along those your ability along those four capacities. Remember, those four capacities are CQ drive, CQ knowledge, CQ strategy, and CQ action. I'm a certified facilitator with the Cultural Intelligence Center, and I want to recommend a book. This book, right? Leading with Cultural Intelligence. It's brilliant, it's easy to read, and it's full of really solid, concrete stuff. Most of what I'm going to share with you, at least half, maybe more, of what I'm going to share with you across these next few videos comes from the Cultural Intelligence Center. Just want to give a shout out to my people. All right, so the question we ask when we explore cultural intelligence drive, CQ drive, we're asking the question, how motivated am I? When you take the CQ test and they ask you a certain set of these questions, they're measuring how motivated you are to cross the cultural distance, to cross that barrier, that invisible space between cultures, that liminal edge where things stop being familiar to you and they start being strange, so that you can connect with someone for whom the space you're moving into is familiar. It's how willing you are to cover the distance between you and someone or someone's else. It's a measurement of willingness. So when we talk about motivation, we're actually measuring three things: your intrinsic motivators or motivation, your extrinsic motivation, and your self-efficacy. Intrinsic motivation, it includes things that are inside you, things that are things that you desire without regard to external reward, things that kind of burn inside you. And sometimes it's just like you like adventure, or you like new things, or you like to try new stuff, or you're a foodie and you really love food from different places. You just love the difference, the adventure and novelty of the experience. Sometimes you believe something very, very deeply, and it motivates you to move across a cultural barrier. Sometimes you are just your love of learning and of expanding yourself drives you to move across the distance between you and the other. Sometimes your motivations are external to you. They're extrinsic motivations. And we all have both of these. An extrinsic motivation would be desiring to be able to score the higher paying job that's at a post in another country, or hoping to land the contract with the multinational organization, and you're going to have to talk to your counterpart is from a different culture, and to make this work, you're going to have to cover the distance socially between the two of you. Or you're in a multicultural team, and you know that multicultural teams work better than monocultural teams if the people on the team have high cultural intelligence, which is true, by the way. Multicultural teams almost always outperform monocultural teams if the people on the multicultural team have high CQ. If they have low CQ, the multicultural team tends to underperform. How about that? So extrinsic motivators are things outside you that still motivate you to cover the distance. And then self-efficacy is just a way of talking about essentially self-confidence. Do you believe you can do it? Do you believe you can cross the distance? Do you believe that you can learn to thrive in a new place, or learn to thrive in a new setting, or learn to thrive without your cultural scaffoldings holding you up? So when we measure your cultural intelligence along this particular capacity, when we measure your CQ drive, we're looking at your internal motivations, your external motivations, and your self-efficacy. Now, once you kind of have a feeling for, or solid, concrete, numerical knowledge about your cultural intelligence drive, you want to ask the question, how can I improve this? So here's some tips over here about that. The first one is be honest with yourself. This isn't be honest with everybody else, although that's also healthy. It's be honest with yourself. You got to start where you are. No one can start where you're not. It's not even that you shouldn't start where you're not. It's that if you don't start where you are, you're not starting. You're pretending to go someplace. It's like opening your phone and your phone's GPS and it says you're right here, and you just pretend you're someplace else and try to get started. The blue dot says you're here, man. So just say, I'm here. What does that mean? Well, here's something that means. I used to like to fancy myself a rugged adventurer. You know, like I like adventure, and I like difficult contexts, and I like to do the hard thing in strange circumstances. And pieces of that are true. I am pretty tough. Like if my internal motivations are adequate, there isn't a lot that I can't endure. And that's been shown. However, if it's like time to go out to dinner, and you say, where do you want to eat? You can count on it. I'm going to pick one of two restaurants. And when I sit down in that restaurant, I'm going to order exactly the same thing I always order in that restaurant. I'm going to use exactly the same words to order it to make sure it comes out exactly the same way that I always want it. And when someone says, hey, can I try a bite of that? I'll say yes, but I'll feel like I'm losing some of my calories. And they'll say, well, here, you can try a bite of mine, but I don't want a bite of yours. If I wanted that, I would have ordered it. And I don't want it. That's why I didn't order it. That's why I never order it, because I want this. I want the same thing every time. I really appreciate stability and predictability. Not because I'm afraid of something else, but because I know what I like, and I want to like what I like, and I don't want to spend energy finding a new thing to like. I'm pleasantly surprised sometimes. You know, and people say, see, you should try new things. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but man, I like what I like. I like what I like. And I like walking into a place and everybody going, hey, and everybody knows my name, and they know me because I'm a regular. I'm the guy that likes to be a regular. So I don't like adventure for its own sake. I like the same thing all the time. All the time. And I got to be honest about that. If I can be honest about that, then I'm not going to be walking around wondering why I'm experiencing things constantly changing as very stressful. If I can just be honest and say I don't like things changing, then it won't be so stressful, because I won't be both stressed by the change and stressed by my lack of personal self-awareness. So be honest with you about you, because there's not a moral quality to cultural intelligence drive. Okay? Just be honest about how motivated are you to cross the culture, because you can increase that. You can increase those motivations. How? Well, first, it's being honest. You can't increase it from someplace you're not. You have to start where you are. But second, is get in touch with your motivators. If you really want that job, if you really want to be able to communicate something to someone, something that's deeply important to you, if you really want to understand someone, someone that for reasons inside you, it's become very important to you that you understand them, remember that. Remember. Dismember. Don't become detached from those motivators. Continually return to them and reconnect. Remember that you care about that, and re-feel it. Sit in that feeling. Sit in those emotions of desire and of interest and of curiosity and of hope. Sit inside them and let them warm up those parts of your drive that have gone cold and crank slowly now. Get reconnected. Get in touch with your motivators. And then experiences. Eat and socialize. So here's a story. I just told you I'm not a foodie. You know, I'm not like, hey, I want to go on an adventurous thing and eat goat spleen. You know, I'm not. It's not me. In fact, I am. I'm just not that guy. We're gonna leave that there for time. Just gonna say I'm not that guy. So I went to Thailand with a couple of guys to help do some planning for a humanitarian aid organization, a Mercy Foundation, that was right along the river, the Mekong River, right on the border of Laos. And one of the things we were going to do required us to be inside this one village that had, I think, never had North Americans, and certainly never had white people. So we were excited, you know, because that's a cool story. I mean, I'm excited by that. I do like exploration. I do like adventure, like that. So one of the pieces of this task that we had involved being able to communicate some really, really good news to this particular village, and then helping them process the implications of that good news in real time. So it's not just like a fairy tale to them. they're able to actually take some concrete steps that will radically improve their existence along things that they desperately need. It wasn't even an imposition of things they don't need. Like they needed this, and they needed to be able to receive this particular piece of excellent news. So I'm motivated, right? I want to be able to communicate this to them. So we get into the village, and they say, hey, we're having this giant party tonight, and you're going to eat. And the guy that we were connecting with, who was Lao, had brought us into this village. He said, so this village has a custom, whenever they meet an outsider, the outsider has to eat their food. And it's the only way the outsider can demonstrate that they're not an evil spirit. If you don't eat the food, you will communicate that you are an evil spirit. Now, if you've been watching some of the other videos on culture that I've been doing with you, you'll know that you can say something, but then the olfactory, the taste and smell communication signal, if you do something inconsistent with what you're saying, they're going to believe this one. This is like the trump. The smell and taste is like the trump signal for truth. So they're going to see if I am a real person, and they're going to watch me engage with their olfactory communication system, and the other guys too. Well, we all sit on the ground. One of the guys doesn't want to sit on the ground. I don't know why, but he doesn't want to sit on the ground. So he sits down, and effectively, they get him a chair because they're polite people. And effectively, what he's communicated, he has accidentally communicated, and it's a persistent communication across the time, is, I am significantly better than you, right? Big fail. Accidental fail, but monstrous, massive fail. One of the other guys isn't going to do it. He just can't get himself to eat it. And you're like, why can't he get himself to eat it? Well, because it was foods that are unusual for people from North America. It's a bowl of sticky rice with red ants. I think they were dead red ants all in it, like the same thickness you'd expect, like black pepper. And you pick it up with this bitter herb, and you put it in your mouth, and the saliva streams in your mouth move the ants, and it feels like your mouth is full of ants running around. I really hope that was just a feeling, that they weren't actually running around. Whew, it was hard to get down for the three of us, but I ate it, and I kept connecting to, I want to be able to share this really excellent news, and I want them to think I'm a person when I do it. And so I eat it, and I eat it, and I eat it, and I know that I can feel myself getting sick, and I keep eating it. And then there's this other thing, they keep offering me things to try, because like I'm the guy that'll eat it, so they keep offering me stuff to try. And there's this one bowl of like wobbly flesh, like squares of flesh of some part of a fish, and it's like a gray stripe, a white stripe, and a pink stripe. I don't know. I was a biologist. I don't know what part of a fish is red, white, and gray. Those are typically not colors that you want to eat meat in, but I eat it, right? And I get so sick, man. I get ill. And remember that the American cultural value on health is really high, and like it's a moral imperative to never get sick. But I have another set of imperatives that trump my American imperatives, and those imperatives root me deeply in a narrative that's very important to me. And that very important narrative drives my desire to be able to communicate this fantastic message that I'm trying to get across this village. And so I that's a story of staying connected. And I ate food that was bad, right? But like that was, to me, was bad. But I have this whole memory is a positive memory for me. And it actually inspires me to continue eating strange foods in strange places, because that was an expression of a motivation. I lived from my heart. And when you live from your heart and cross a distance, that's only a positive memory. It's a good story. It's not a bad story. I don't sit there and go like, oh, this terrible thing happened to me. I love it. I love this story, and I've got 30 other stories like it. But I'm honest with myself. I'm not naturally that person, but I get connected to my motivators, and I try new things. And as I try these new things, I connect with the people. The people connect with me. We understand one another, and it's very, very good. That motivates me to take the next step and learn what I can about my counterpart. And that is CQ Knowledge.